Redevelopment Authority meeting for July 20th. Jenny, if you could take the roll.
Member Thorson?
Here.
Member Peterson? Here. Member Wong?
Here.
Member Cole?
Here.
Chair Furlong.
Here. So we have a few items, and I'll turn it over to the Executive Director, Mr. Frandl.
Thank you, Chair. First action item is approval of a joint powers agreement between the city and Northeast Intermediate School District 916 to continue the student home projects for the 2021-2022 school year at 2487 19th Avenue.
Okay. Any question in regards to the joint powers agreement for, what's your title?
Executive Director.
Executive Director,
Sounds really important.
Randall. Any questions for Brian? If not, the motion is for the building construction joint powers agreement.
So
Moved by
I'll second.
Member Peterson, second by Member Thorson. Any discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Executive Director Frandl.
Thanks, Chair. Second action item B is revised plan for student-built home discussion.
All right, now we get to the nuts and bolts of the meeting. Welcome again, and
Yes, good to see everyone again.
we're back at it, and
Right, and so 2 weeks ago, I was here, and there was a plan that was preliminary drawn for that lot, and it had a hard time fitting on that lot, and I always look at multiple facets. First of all, the house has to fit in the neighborhood. Second, the house has to fit on the lot, and third, the house has to sit in the financial budget plan. And so after we've looked at that plan, it needed a lot of modifications. So I reached out to the original architect, Leah Johnson, about the plan changes and other options. And I also went to her website. So I reached out to her on July 9th. On July 12th, she sent me another variation of a plan that I thought would really fit well into this property. Smaller plan. It was like 1,300 roughly square feet. And it was a plan that she had on her website, a stock plan. So it needed some other modifications to make it fit onto that property. Then she actually sent me another plan that she said this is even more streamlined. And so I'm thinking streamlined, bring that cost down as much as possible, fits the neighborhood, all that good stuff. And so we had discussions on the 13th of July, preferring that plan that she sent me with the changes. And I believe you did receive that plan and the changes?
we have plans in our,
Well, we got the changes, but the plan is the same plan. It's a third, there's a third stall still on the plan.
Correct, correct.
So that plan is the original plan. It's not the modified.
Right. And so yesterday I sent her a follow-up email checking on the progress of where she's at. And then today she sent me a reply, and she said she's about 2 weeks out. They're making these revisions. And then she said that the rough cost she charges about $1 a square foot. And so, it's finished basement and main floor, so it'd be about $2,600. And she would need a half, about $1,300 to get started. And I found that out today. My experience with this is, it seems a little bit high, to be honest with you. So I don't know if you're looking for recommendations or if you want to talk about this or where we want to go from here.
so it's just the update in the plan is what you're saying.
Correct. Yeah, because we can't really use her plan, then we can have copyright issues,
Right.
the one she has on her website and such.
And we don't have really any other options right now, so this is what we're,
Well, I did send out a couple emails to some of the builders I know, Housing First Minnesota and another one, asking them, hey, do you by chance happen to have a 1,400 square foot Rambler plan we could use real quick? Haven't heard back, but they're probably busy today as well. So I'd almost like to wait a few days to see if something materializes from that conversation, and then, not jump at the gun today on it. Maybe by the end of the week, if we don't have another plan in place to move forward with a, set of building plans, we'll probably have to go this option. And it's not, I think I had $2,500 in the budget for a plan, and this is 26, pretty close.
Yep.
And so we did, or I did, put it as a budget item issue. Obviously, we had to buy plans or get something drawn. So that's where we're at with the plans right now.
Tom, I'm okay with it to move ahead.
Yeah.
Go
just a
ahead,
couple of
Councilmember
questions.
Thor,
So, you had mentioned previously maybe a way to help save some costs is to not finish the basement. Is
Correct.
that something that would help reduce the cost of that if the basement's not, or is it just saying the overall footprint that is adding to that 2,600?
That's a good point. I mean, maybe we can have her draw it without a finished basement. Make some notes here myself.
And I guess my other question was, so, I mean, it seems like making a modification to an existing plan would be ideal. So if we were to go out and hire a different outfit, how much do you anticipate that might cost? But it sounds like you're waiting to hear back from those, so you.
Yeah, I mean, she's charging roughly $1 a square foot. That's, probably at or below the going rate right now. And so I'm not really balking at her price too much. Just said I'm trying to get it for free is what it boils down to from my contacts in the building
Thank you.
industry.
Yeah.
Get the house for free, too.
Yeah, it just so happens I provide, roughly 90 students a year into their industry. And so I
Yeah.
was hoping that there would be some repercussion there.
So I guess if we can hear back from your other people and they say, yeah, we can do something, I would say let's move forward with that route, obviously, especially if they're not going to do it at any cost. But being is that we're, September's going to be here in a blink of an eye.
Right.
And I guess my only concern is that, there was a variance already granted for this existing plan, I believe. And I'm hoping that whatever we do, we can just modify it and make it fit into the lot existing. No need to acquire additional land, no need to, because we did that as well. And no need to do a variance, just make it fit within the existing lot. And it sounds like that's your goal?
Well, my goal would be to make it, because did the city purchase that property already?
Yep.
At 5 feet? And that's, that really helps out a lot due to the setbacks we're trying to get. Are you referencing the impervious area of that property?
Yeah, maybe Ronnie can.
Yeah. This should actually fit in there, no problem with that, what's already been okayed with the variance and all that, from what I have read and what I have seen. So I think we should be fine with that.
Yeah, so because their variance has already been approved, I believe it's good for a year. And if we don't need it, it just expires, from my understanding. But again, if the goal is to just work within the parameters of the existing lot and kind of downsize it for various reasons to make it fit in with the neighborhood, budgetary-wise, I think that would be ideal. But it seems like the current plans that we do have, that we obviously paid for, that will work because we have that additional 5 feet that we bought from the neighbor and then a variance in place right now. So I wasn't sure if maybe you're aware of that or not, but.
Yeah, except that house plan was a little bit over the top.
Yeah, it's the budgetary.
Yeah. Meets 2 of the 3 requirements.
Okay.
Well, I don't even know if it fits in the neighborhood that well. I mean, just giving, you can change the front, to tone it down a little bit. But I just don't want to be that house on the block that stands out too much. I want it to fit in that neighborhood as much as possible. That's why I'm kind of recommending we go to, a downscaled version, streamlined version of that plan.
Great.
But the question is if you want a basement or not. So,
So,
finished basement.
a finished basement.
That's,
That does add cost to the home. A lot of that cost, with the new energy codes and stuff, we have to really insulate that basement whether you finish it or not. I mean, that's just part of the new energy codes we deal with. Then we're looking at, electrical, finishing that bathroom, some plumbing issues. Depending on what well, I guess I have the plan in front of me as far as that lower level goes, finishing it. But I would just, top of my head, just kind of estimated, probably close to, $30,000 finishing that basement, something on that price range. That would drop that cost. Possibly could wait to see what the budget comes out to be and then decide if we want to finish that lower level or not, see where we come in. Some people like that lower level ready to move in, others want to do it themselves. So you're kind of splitting hairs on that one. Depends on the buying market at the time.
I think if we had that option, that'd be good. Have that option if,
Okay, so we'll just note on the plan, future basement finish or something like that. And then if we decide to go ahead with it, and we can probably make that decision during the construction process. And it's no different than if you build a house and all of a sudden it's sold and somebody wants the basement finished, you're not gonna not finish it. You're gonna go ahead and finish it for them. And as far as scheduling goes, I've been in contact with St. Paul College, and they said if they need to come in and help us, finish the basement, be an example of that, they'd be more than happy to come in and do that.
oh, good,
So I've got a backup to the backup plan here.
good, very good.
All right, so I will follow up with the architect and look at that no finish in the lower level and see if that will affect the price of the drawing fees. And then I'll wait, maybe send another reminder email to the people I sent emails to about, do you have a stock plan that we could, maybe borrow?
You want us to set a number for you at all for the plan, or do you feel comfortable? I have a lot of faith in you. So, if it's $100 or $500 or whatever,
Yeah, I think well,
I hate to have you not do it because, I got to go back to the council or the HRA to find out if that's acceptable or not. I
Yeah.
want to kind of give you more leeway and.
Oh, yeah. The email, and this just came today, so it could not get in your docket requirement by Thursday, I believe. Everything has to be submitted to city or HRA council by Thursday for you to receive. So this came from me today. And she said a positive half of the estimated cost gets the project started. The cost of the project is $1 per square foot. So far, this project, the deposit will be roughly $1,300. The final amount, which is due when the design is approved and in the budget you require. The balance is determined after we land on exact square footage. So if we make the house bigger, do some other things, then she'll add on to that $1 per square foot fee.
I'll leave it to your discretion unless
Yeah.
council thinks anything else.
Okay, well, we'll look at, having her, I plan on not telling her, let's go ahead and draw this until I exhaust some of those other resources that
Okay.
are available to me. And then once she can kind of, about 1,300 square foot, might be 1,350, so I'll bring the price up to about $2,700. So it's going to be around, 2,600, 2,700, depending on the exact square footage.
I'm okay with that.
So we pre-approve them for that, but if you can get it down or use your resources who may
Right.
potentially do it for free, then that way you're not waiting or need to come back to
Right.
us. Right?
Okay,
So you have that discretion.
appreciate it, thank you. All right, do you have any other further questions about the plan? Okay. The other item that I mentioned 2 weeks ago on the 6th of July, was that the last?
How time flies when we're.
Yeah. Is reaching out to Carl Sanderson about that structural imaging. And they have not gotten back to me. So I just want to, I did look into it, did some other things, but they haven't gotten back to me on that either.
Are they that busy? Or
Everybody's really busy right now. Labor shortage, interest rates low, lumber prices are starting to drop. I can see it getting worse as we move into the fall.
so fish finder, you can't use it to look to see if there's a crack or something?
I've got a Markham 3, but I don't think it doesn't even find fish for me. So
I don't know, it's just based on, that, how close it is to that house, and we're gonna be doing a lot of excavating.
yeah.
I think it might be important for us to have that.
Or at least reach out to that person and see if if she has any record of anything, and maybe they've done some home inspections, I'm not sure what the,
Would MinSpec, would our MinSpec be able to do anything, help us on that?
I can certainly talk to them. There are different levels of that as well. I mean, you can go as far as you want with imaging equipment. You can actually do just a walkthrough of the home, like a before and an after. There are different levels of it to look into, but I can certainly make contact with MinSpec about that.
Tom, do you think that would kind of suffice if we had, someone go over there and inspect the foundation or
some
inspect the walls and
documentation. Right, some
taking
documentation.
pictures and all that, just to have documentation that might be enough to, for the short term, I guess. Yeah, council or HRA commission member, whoever you are.
She's going to be on top of it,
Right,
so we want to be correct.
right. So if we could get MinSpec to take a peek at it, and then it's based on who's going to do the excavation too. We got to talk about that too.
Correct.
And I think that's the next topic.
I believe so. You have any further questions for me on the house plans or moving forward? We'll do the best we can. It's like being a public high school teacher. Wait, I am one. Or,
Yeah, I was going to say, aren't you a teacher?
I get 3 months off once in a while, so.
Good.
Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Anything else? Okay, good. Thank you. So that brings us to the excavation and demolition and all that. I don't know if, Ron, if you want to take the lead on that?
Yeah, in your packet, you should have gotten 4 different estimates. One of them was from the city that we put together some numbers. Randy and I worked with Kyle on just getting some numbers together. So the equipment costs that you see in here are basically per our, what's our
It's like a disaster, it's in our fee schedule.
yes, it's in our fee schedules. So in our city fee schedules, thank
If we
you.
were to go do mutual aid from
Yep.
Maplewood, if a tornado went.
This
through,
is what
we'd
we'd charge for a
It's
truck.
FEMA reimbursement. I think.
Yep. This is what we'd charge for a truck, what we'd charge for a backhoe, what we'd charge for any of that. So that's what you can see in where our numbers came up with. That's a rate per hour, and then we guesstimated what we'd have in it for hours in there for that. So what we're basically gonna look at with all the different, the quotes that we got are basically the tear down of the house, disconnect of water and sewer, and then reconnect of water and sewer. They're not all real clear on how, how they estimated it. They basically were given the same information. So the city of North St. Paul, we would be at about 16.8 for those 3 items: the tear down of the house, disconnect water, sewer, and then reconnect it. If you look at DSM excavating, for them to do those 3 things, they would be about 15.4, and then Semple would be around 12.6 for that, but they don't have a reconnect fee on here. It was basically to take the water and sewer cut off at the property. And then Midstate, in their bid for those 3 things, it'd be at about 12.3. So they were the lowest bid out of the 3 that we have. So I know that Councilmember Thorson had asked, for what it would cost for the city to do this. This is rough numbers. There's a lot more info in here. We put in to dig in the basement, backfill, different things like that. So we can definitely, open for discussion on this and what your guys' thoughts are. And
Have you worked with any of these folks, or they're?
yes, DSM, Tom has worked with those. That was one.
Have an art name, but that sounds familiar.
Yep, so that was one of the guys companies he reached out to. Semple has done they've moved houses and they have done some work in town. I personally haven't worked with them. Midstate, they are who have done the project downtown. They have done multiple projects in town. They're good people to work with from what I've worked with them. So but this is kind of where we're at, and, you know, definitely open for discussion on how we want to look at doing this, and
I've got a quick question. So if you look at the bids, you know, the city of North St. Paul, definitely we have fixed costs that are there. And that would be, I'd assume, the labor and probably the machinery too, because that's our equipment. That's
yep.
what if we're not using it, you know, it's just sitting idle. And then the labor, if we have time to do it, and that's totally up to you guys in regards to if we have the time, and, you know, that's labor that if you're not doing that, you're mowing the lawns or working on something. So does it make sense to take those out of the contract? And to me, it kind of makes sense to take that out to price it.
To take our, like, truck prices out and hours and,
It's all those fixed costs that we're normally gonna be doing stuff in the city anyhow. And I don't know what the council thinks about that, but, you know, if we're not tearing that down, we're doing something else. And if we have the manpower at that time to do it,
and it definitely comes down to timing, you know, on a day-to-day basis. You know, we could definitely, you know, if we were gonna tear this house down and we were trying to hit a tight schedule on this, you know, we could have a water main break, we could have a storm, we could have something come in. Normally, the day-to-day, the schedule that I make, very rare do we stick to it. There's usually something that comes up, something that, you know, happens that we have to kind of veer off and do something different.
you're kind of like a doctor. Something can come up.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's just what it is. You know, we've done this before. It's not like we don't have, we have the people that can do it. And it really comes down to time. It comes down to, you know, what your guys' thoughts are of, you know, the city doing that. I know there's mixed reactions on that. But it definitely is something, you know, if we're gonna do it in September or, you know, the end of August, you know, it's a busy time of the year for us. There's always something going. There's vacations, there's, you know, different things going on with that. I understand what you're saying. I mean, you look at this stuff and, hey, we're here, you're getting paid, you know, they're paying the public works guys either way. That we have the equipment, but it comes down to, if we do this, we figured 4 guys to do this 3 days. It's, you know, for that, if 1 guy or 2 guys are gone right now, we stop doing something that, you know, blacktopping or tree trimming, or when we stop that for those days. Now, not doing those for 3 days, is that gonna, you know, break us or wreck our whole schedule? It won't. It's just what you guys are comfortable with us doing.
Right.
So-
And that's just it. What are we comfortable with? What are you comfortable with? You know, what's our missed opportunity if we allow you to do this? Are we missing something else? So,
I can't honestly say, hey, if we do this, we gotta quit blacktopping for the rest of the year. We're not gonna trim any more trees. It's nothing like that, but it's what you guys are comfortable with this. You know, we'll make it work. We're used to that. We're used to kind of, you know, doing whatever we have to do.
I guess what is that number if we take those items out?
Basically, you'd be down to the 2,500 just for tipping fees.
Yep,
$2,500?
yep. It would be for the disposal, and if you want to figure fuel in there, you know, in that cost for, you know, trucking the stuff out.
Right. Commissioners?
So, I mean, I get where you're coming from, Mayor, but, you know, to get an apples to apples comparison to these other bids, you can't just say, well, we're gonna be out driving the dump truck anyway, so let's just take that out. Well, then, what's the point of ever getting a bid? I mean, we could always come in under, or we could make the numbers work wherever. The intent here was to say, what would it cost us to do if we were operating like a private contractor, and what does that compare to others? And then it becomes a question of what are our opportunity costs? And, you know, just like the police department was discussing, they're stretched thin. You know, Public Works, from my understanding, is kind of always facing that too throughout the summer depending on how much summer help you have and people's vacation schedule. You know, this thing that we're in here is not an essential city service, in my opinion. What we hired public works employees to do is to provide essential city services. That's servicing the sewers, the parks, our forestry department doing forestry, the streets. And that's going to take a back seat if they're doing this, no doubt about it. If you guys are sitting around twiddling your thumbs looking for something to do, I think that'd be the no-brainer thing. Well, we'll do it. We'll save ourselves, what, $10,000 to $12,000. And you know, this is also something that yes, we can do, but this isn't what we're experts in, right? These people, this is what they specialize in. And so, you know, I don't think we can just ignore the certain charges to justify us doing it. I think, you know, this is clear that we're in the ballpark, but, you know, with our growing rates and everything, we're obviously a little higher. Yes, you can take those charges out and then we're under, but I think to me, it seems like the responsible thing to do would be to engage with one of these contractors and have them do it, knowing that if something comes up, we can always step in and do it. And in so doing, we will save some money because we're actually not gonna bill ourselves for this stuff. But, you know, to me, the priority of what Public Works is supposed to be doing takes precedent over something like this, in my opinion.
Councilmember, or Commissioner Peterson.
I agree with Councilman Thorson. We can add this to the sale of the home. I know it'll be later on, but I mean, we can recoup this excavating, right? I mean, we got to come up with it originally, but I don't know how it works, but I just think our guys are stretched thin. I mean, I see them working all the time, and I just don't think they have the time to do it. And I think our other services are more important, and they can get it done more efficiently. Not that you couldn't, but you got other things to do. And that's how I feel about it. I know it's money, you know, I don't like to spend money, but I think in this circumstance, I can validate it. Thank you.
Councilmember Wong? Commissioner Wong?
Yeah, again, I think it goes back to the capacity. I hear Commissioner Thorson in regards to, yes, we have essential services that need to be taken care of. So I guess my question from a more of a logistical standpoint is, if you have 4 guys on site, how many other people on site, then how many other folks are out and, you know, doing, you know, the essential services? I guess my question is, do you think you have the capacity for 3 days?
Like I said, we always make it work. We're kind of used to doing that and figuring stuff out. But just so you know, we have 9 guys at Public Works. So that would, you know, close to half our staff for 3 days. And they would have to be all full-time guys. It couldn't be any of the summertime help. Probably by that time, we'll be losing most of our summer help. So, you know, in that time frame where if we have summer help out helping mow, you know, to help do stuff, it'll take full-time guys to do that. Summertime help takes care of all the trash, you know, all summer long. And in September, we're still doing trash, so full-time guys have to do that. So for those 3 days, you know, we're probably stopping 2, you know, services that we would do. Blacktopping and probably tree trimming is what we would stop. Depending on where we are in the sewer cleaning for the year, you know, we have to get through at least 1/3 of the city each summer. So that's something that we stay on task and make sure that we do. But that's just, you know, kind of the reality of it. And that's saying that we have the full crew here. A lot of the guys in the summertime, they take their vacations in the summer because we need everybody here in the winter for plowing. So the guys are usually really good about getting their time used up or, you know, using their vacation before the snow starts to fly. So when we start getting closer to snow season, guys start using their time, and, you know, we expect a lot out of them in the winter time because we need everyone here to do it. We can be down one guy, and, you know, but someone has to cover that person's route for that. So it's like I said, we always, if, you guys decided, hey, we want you to do it because this is, we have the stuff, you can do it, it's 3 days of our lives, that's fine. I mean, we can make that work. I would never tell you absolutely not, but I'm just kind of laying out what's there, and yeah, so it'd be half our staff. That was kind of a long answer.
That's a very long,
Sorry.
could you repeat that again?
Yeah.
Hanging around.
I'd probably say it all
Morgan
wrong.
Dolly too much. I think Morgan, yeah.
Sorry.
Commissioner Cole?
Pretty much along the same line as everyone else. Ron, if you got the time to do it, awesome. If it's going to take away from something else, we outsource it, and that's, kind of the way I'm looking at it.
Okay.
So I guess it's up to you if you're,
What's that?
The hard part be just scheduling right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Have to let a contractor know soon, have the tight schedule.
Yeah.
So having a contractor, you'd be more specific on timing. Tom, I think that might help you more, if they have a contractor coming in and working on it rather than you guys, if you do get caught.
It probably would help my schedule somewhat, but given the delay in plans that we're currently experiencing, we're looking at realistically 3 weeks out before we get a set of working plans that we can submit for permit, which is kind of pushing our start date farther into like mid-September. And so that would actually probably give, not that I want to sway anybody here, but probably give Public Works almost like 2 weeks timeframe to demo that house. I don't think they would need to bring fill in to backfill a hole. I'm not sure what the safety protocol is there to put up a snow fence or some barricades of some sort. And then do the sewer disconnect and then let it sit until someone comes in and does the excavation.
So you're thinking the City Works could do it under a longer time frame. It wouldn't have to be 3 days. It could be,
Yeah, it's gonna take them 3 days to do it, but, they don't have to specify 3 specific calendar days. They'll have some flexibility in probably a 2-week window to fit in those 3 days.
Ideally, we need 3 rain days.
I'm right back where I was.
back where you are.
That's fine. And like I said, I have no problem. And we can go. I guess what I'm hearing is, hey, if it works in our schedule, if this works out, we should do it. If I deem that it doesn't, you guys don't have a problem in taking this lowest bidder to do this.
Yep. Yep.
All right, that's fine with me. I'm happy with that. That's bad sometimes.
So what is your decision? I mean, is it based on, do you think you have time in the next? Really? I think that's kind of what we're looking for, clarity of,
Let's hope for rain.
Yeah, like I said, I guess the way that I'm looking at it, I'll talk to the lowest bid contractor, see, hey, how much of a lead time do I need to give you on this? We'll see how things lay out here, the house plan. The big thing is gonna be, if we can demo the house and leave the hole open, dig the hole, haul stuff out for the demo, leave the hole open, adjust the hole to the size that it needs to be for the foundation, backfill it, and the days that I gave you, the 3 days, that's demoing the house, hauling the stuff out, maybe sizing the hole, but then we gotta come back, we gotta backfill, we'll have to backfill it once the foundation's put in. So, it's gonna be more than 3 days that we'll have up there working on it. What's that?
4 days on there.
Oh, do we have 4 days figured on it? Okay, so what I guess my answer to you is that we'll see how things play out here, and if I deem we have time to do it, we'll do that, and we'll demo it, and if I don't, it's okay for me to use the lowest bid contractor, correct?
unless So Tom, you've worked with Midstate. Have you worked with Midstate?
I've worked with, we've.
Oh, you've worked with
Midstate,
Midstate.
yeah. They're doing, they're the contractor that got the downtown project.
Because it looks like Simple and Midstate are pretty close to the same.
Yes, but Semple's, I think you'd have to add.
Simple,
Yeah, I think you'd have to add a water hookup.
no reconnect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they don't have a reconnect on here.
so we'll leave it up to you.
Yep,
Lowest bid, I guess.
okay. And we'll do it if we have, we have the time to do it. And if something turns out that it doesn't, I can have them on backup.
And then we want to work with, what do you call it, for the neighbors. Get an inspection in there.
Inspect.
Inspect. We should do that fairly soon, coordinate. Okay. Anything else?
I'm afraid.
All right. Director Frandl, anything else on HRA? All right. If not, motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Moved by Councilmember, or Commissioner Thorson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Cole. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? We are adjourned.